Imagine unlocking the secrets of the Bible book by book in a way that's easy to grasp and incredibly fun. Hey there, Grace Keepers. Welcome back to Relate Nation. I'm Joe, and I'll be your guide on this adventure. We're embarking on a Bible super study that brings to life its most fascinating stories and characters. Together, we're going to break down each book into smaller, more digestible bits, making these ancient tales resonate with our lives today. This journey is as much a learning experience for me as it will be for you, and I'm thrilled to have you join me. Whether you're a seasoned Bible reader or just curious, there's something for everyone. So let's get comfortable and explore these timeless stories together, one book at a time. Genesis, our starting point, is more than a mere account of beginnings. It reveals the nature of God as the Creator, the intrinsic value of the natural world, and the special role of humanity within it. From the creation of the universe to the dawn of human history, Genesis sets the stage for an epic narrative. This book is the foundation of the biblical story, introducing us to key themes such as the purpose of humanity, the reality of sin, and God's promise of redemption. It's through Genesis that we meet pivotal figures like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose stories are central to understanding the Israelite nation and the unfolding of God's plan. Written in ancient context, Genesis offers a window into the early Hebrew worldview, touching on cosmology, morality, and theology. As we traverse this book, we'll discuss these perspectives, spanning from the creation to the Israelites' descent into Egypt. We'll also explore key themes like the nature of God, the significance of being created in His image, the impact of sin, and the hope of redemption. Lastly, we'll appreciate Genesis's literary beauty, a tapestry woven from ancient myths, history, and genealogy. This style is crucial for understanding the book's messages and themes. Join us as we uncover the depths of Genesis, understanding its place in the Bible and its relevance to our lives today. In our exploration of Genesis, it's essential to understand its pivotal role in the biblical narrative. Genesis isn't just the beginning of the Bible. It's the foundational bedrock that underpins the entire scriptural journey. At its heart, Genesis addresses the most profound questions of human existence. Where do we come from? What's our purpose? Why is there suffering? Through its narratives, Genesis introduces the concept of a personal, omnipotent God who creates the universe and everything in it, setting a stage for human history. The stories of Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, Noah, and the Tower of Babel outline the human condition, our capacity for both greatness and failure. The tales of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph are more than historical accounts. They represent the unfolding of God's covenant with humanity. These stories set the groundwork for themes of faith, sin, redemption, and the promise of a Savior, themes that resonate throughout the rest of the Scriptures. Moreover, Genesis provides the ancestry of the Israelites, linking them directly to God's creation and His promises. This ancestral narrative is not just about lineage, it's about God's ongoing relationship with His people and His unchanging faithfulness despite our human fallibility. As we delve into Genesis, we'll see how these themes are not mere historical accounts, but living truths that continue to shape our understanding of God, the world, and our place within it. In the lush, vibrant Garden of Eden, God formed Adam from the dust and breathed life into him, then created Eve from Adam's rib, establishing the first human companionship. This perfect world, abundant in beauty and harmony, was their home, a place where they walked with God and experienced His direct presence. However, this harmonious existence faced a test. The tree of knowledge, forbidden to them, became the center of a fateful decision. The serpent's temptation led them to eat the fruit, an act of disobedience that had far-reaching consequences. This wasn't merely a physical act, but a moral and spiritual transgression, introducing sin into God's perfect creation. The repercussions were immediate and severe. Adam and Eve's eyes were open to good and evil, altering their innocence and purity. They experienced shame, fear, and guilt for the first time, symbolizing the loss of their intimate relationship with God. This narrative also introduces the concept of consequences and divine judgment. God's response to their disobedience included expulsion from Eden, the introduction of pain in childbirth, and the curse of toiling earth. Yet amidst these consequences, there was also a promise of redemption, a hope that would thread through the rest of the biblical story. In this rich tapestry of events, the story of Adam and Eve teaches us about the complexity of human freedom, the weight of moral choices, and the enduring impact of our actions. It lays the foundation for understanding sin, redemption, and the need for a Savior. The story of Cain and Abel, sons of Adam and Eve, presents a profound exploration of human nature. Abel, a shepherd, and Cain, a farmer, represent the early human endeavors of pastoral and agricultural life. Both brothers brought offerings to God, but while Abel's offering, a firstborn from his flock, was accepted, Cain's offering of the fruits of the ground was not. This distinction in divine acceptance becomes the catalyst for what unfolds next. Cain's response to God's rejection reveals the complex nature of human emotions and moral choices. Overcome by jealousy and anger, he confronts Abel. The narrative escalates dramatically when Cain's unchecked emotions lead him to commit the unthinkable, the murder of his own brother. This act signifies a deepening of sin in the human story, moving from disobedience in Eden to fratricidal violence. God's interactions with Cain following the murder is multifaceted. God confronts Cain, who responds evasively, further highlighting human sin's nature. The punishment for Cain is severe, yet protective. He is cursed to be a restless wanderer, but also marked by God to prevent others from killing him in vengeance. This dual response of punishment and protection reflects the complexities of divine justice and mercy. The story of Cain and Abel goes beyond fraternal conflict, delving into themes like the consequences of envy, the responsibility for one's actions, and the importance of self-control. It serves as an early, stark illustration of how sin can escalate and affect not just individuals, but also families and communities. This narrative sets a precedent for the Bible's ongoing exploration of sin, justice, and the need for redemption. As humanity's wickedness reached its peak, God's decision to cleanse the earth with a flood marked a critical juncture. Noah, distinguished by his righteousness, was chosen for a mission of salvation. Tasked with building the ark, Noah demonstrated extraordinary faith and diligence. The ark's construction, a monumental endeavor, symbolized God's plan for preserving life amidst destruction. When the floodwaters arrived, they brought a profound and terrifying purification. The deluge, while eradicating corruption, also served as a dramatic symbol of divine judgment. Inside the ark, Noah, his family, and the animals represented a microcosm of a new beginning, embodying hope amidst despair. The flood cessation brought about a transformed world. As Noah emerged from the ark, his first act was to build an altar to God, signifying gratitude and reverence. God's response to Noah's faithfulness was the establishment of a covenant, a promise marked by the rainbow. This covenant was not just with Noah, but with all living creatures, signifying a universal commitment from God to never again destroy the earth with a flood. In this covenant, we see a balance between justice and mercy, a theme that resonates deeply in the biblical narrative. The story of Noah and the flood underscores the seriousness of sin and the righteousness of God, while also highlighting God's mercy and the potential for renewal and restoration. This narrative, rich in symbolism and lessons, sets the stage for understanding the complex relationship between humanity and the divine, and the continual theme of redemption and hope in the face of judgment. In the land of Shinar, humanity, speaking one language, embarked on a grand project. Their unity of purpose and communication enabled them to start building a city and a tower with aspirations to reach the heavens. The tower, constructed with baked bricks, a technological innovation, symbolized their collective power and pride. This unified endeavor, however, was rooted in a desire not only to achieve greatness, but also to defy God's intention for humanity to spread and populate the earth. Their goal to remain concentrated in one location and create a monument to their own glory was a direct challenge to divine plans. God's intervention in this human project was swift and transformative. By confounding their language, God created an insurmountable barrier to their cooperation and communication. This divine action caused confusion and frustration, ultimately halting the construction of the Tower of Babel. The scattering of people across the earth, each group speaking a different language, led to the formation of distinct cultures and societies. This dispersion signifies the importance of diversity and the limitations of human ambition, in contrast to divine will. The Tower of Babel story, therefore, is not just about the failure of a construction project. It's a narrative about human hubris, the power of language in uniting or dividing people, and the role of divine intervention in shaping human history and culture. This tale underscores the themes of human pride versus God's sovereignty and the value of cultural and linguistic diversity in the human experience. The stories of the patriarchs in Genesis mark a significant shift in the biblical narrative, focusing on specific individuals and God's promises to them. These stories are foundational to Jewish and Christian traditions and are rich with themes of faith, covenant, and divine providence. Abraham's journey, a story of faith and covenant, begins with a divine call. God asks Abram, later known as Abraham, to leave his homeland for an unknown land, promising to make him the father of a great nation. Trusting God, Abraham sets out with his wife Sarai and nephew Lot. In Egypt, Abraham faces a moral dilemma regarding Sarai's safety, leading to a deceptive claim that she is his sister. This subterfuge, driven by fear for his life due to her beauty, results in Pharaoh taking Sarai into his palace. God intervenes, protecting Sarai and revealing the truth to Pharaoh, who then releases them with gifts. Upon returning, Abraham and Lot amicably separate to avoid strife among their growing herds. Lot settles in the lush Jordan Valley, while Abraham remains in Canaan. Here, God reiterates his covenant with Abraham, promising innumerable descendants and land. Abraham's faith and leadership are highlighted when he rescues Lot from the king's captivity. Post-rescue, Abraham meets Melchizedek, the king of Salem and priest of God Most High, who blesses him. Abraham's refusal to accept any war spoils from the king of Sodom exemplifies his integrity and reliance on God's provision. The narrative deepens with God's covenant in Genesis 15. In a profound ceremony involving halved animals, God foretells of the Israelites' future bondage and eventual liberation. This covenant underscores God's commitment to Abraham and his descendants. Sarah, unable to conceive, presents her maidservant Hagar to Abraham. The birth of Ishmael to Hagar introduces familial discord, foregrounding the complexities of faith, promise, and human impatience. God's covenant is further solidified with the rite of circumcision in Genesis 17, symbolizing the Israelites' distinct relationship with God. Abraham's name change from Abram and Sarai's to Sarah mark new phases in their lives, aligning with God's promise of Isaac, a son through whom the covenant would continue. Abraham's intercessory prayer for Sodom and Gomorrah reveals his compassion and God's justice. Despite Abraham's pleas, the cities are destroyed for their wickedness, yet Lot and his family are divinely spared, exemplifying mercy amidst judgment. The miraculous birth of Isaac to Sarah, now elderly, fulfills God's long-standing promise, transforming their sorrow into joy and solidifying Isaac as the covenant's bearer. The narrative climaxes with the binding of Isaac, where Abraham's faith is supremely tested. God's last-minute intervention, providing a ram as a sacrifice instead of Isaac, reinforces the themes of faith, obedience, and divine provision. In his later years, Abraham arranges Isaac's marriage to Rebekah, ensuring the covenant's continuation through his lineage. Abraham's peaceful death and burial beside Sarah in the cave of Machpelah conclude his earthly journey. Abraham's life, marked by faith, trials, and divine encounters, sets a foundational narrative for understanding God's relationship with humanity, the complexities of faith, and the unfolding of divine promises. Isaac, the long-awaited son of Abraham and Sarah, is born under miraculous circumstances, symbolizing God's fulfillment of his promise. His early life is marked by the dramatic event where Abraham, in obedience to God, nearly sacrifices him. This defining moment, halted by divine intervention, underscores the depth of faith and God's providential care. Isaac's marriage to Rebekah, orchestrated through divine guidance, brings forth twin sons, Esau and Jacob. These twins, different in nature and destiny, become central figures in Isaac's later life. The family dynamics intensify when Rebekah and Jacob deceive Isaac, leading Jacob to receive the blessing meant for Esau. This act of deception, while contentious, plays a crucial role in the biblical narrative of God's chosen people. Living a relatively quieter life than his father Abraham and son Jacob, Isaac's role is one of a bridge between generations. His life encapsulates the continuation of God's covenant, the complexity of human relationships, and the interplay of faith and destiny. Isaac's death, mourned by both Esau and Jacob, marks the passing of an era and the rise of the next generation of patriarchs. Jacob's life, intertwined with ambition and divine purpose, begins under the shadow of his twin brother Esau. The first significant act that sets the course of his life is acquiring Esau's birthright for a bowl of stew, exploiting Esau's impulsiveness. The deception for Isaac's blessing, orchestrated by Rebekah, forces Jacob to flee to Haran. On his way, the dream at Bethel of a ladder reaching heaven reveals God's promise to be with him. This vision solidifies Jacob's place in the divine narrative. In Haran, Jacob works for his uncle, Laban. He falls in love with Rachel, but is deceived into marrying Leah first. This begins as a complex family life, leading to the birth of his 12 sons and a daughter, Dinah, from his wives and their handmaids. These children are the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob's life in Haran is marked by hard labor and manipulation, both by and against him. After years, he decides to return home, rich in family and possessions, but anxious about facing Esau. The night before meeting Esau, Jacob wrestles with an angel, a physical and spiritual confrontation. He is renamed Israel, symbolizing his struggles with God and men and his prevailing faith. Upon returning, Jacob's life is marked by various family troubles, including the rape of Dinah and the apparent loss of his beloved son Joseph. Despite these hardships, Jacob remains a figure of resilience and faith. Jacob's journey concludes in Egypt, where he is reunited with Joseph and sees his family's growth in a foreign land. His life, characterized by struggles and triumphs, faith and deception, lays the foundation for the nation of Israel and embodies the complex journey of faith and covenant with God. Joseph's story unfolds with dramatic twists and profound lessons. As the favored son of Jacob, Joseph's youth is marked by his father's special treatment and his own prophetic dreams, which predict his rise and prominence. This favoritism, however, sows seeds of jealousy among his brothers. The turning point comes when his brothers, unable to bear their envy, sell Joseph into slavery. He ends up in Egypt, where his journey takes an unexpected turn. Despite facing wrongful accusations and imprisonment, Joseph's resilience and faith remain unshaken. His exceptional ability to interpret dreams catches the attention of the pharaoh, leading to a remarkable rise to power as Egypt's prime minister. During a severe famine, Joseph's strategic planning and wise governance save Egypt and its neighboring regions from disaster. The famine also brings his brothers to Egypt, seeking aid, unaware of Joseph's true identity. This reunion tests Joseph's character, confronting him with a choice between retribution and forgiveness. Ultimately, Joseph reveals himself to his brothers in an emotional encounter, extending forgiveness and attributing his hardships to God's greater plan. The family is reunited, and Jacob's entire household settles in Egypt, setting the stage for future events leading to the Exodus. Joseph's narrative is a rich blend of personal struggle, divine providence, and ultimate reconciliation. It illustrates how adversity can lead to growth and how forgiveness can heal even the deepest of wounds. As we conclude our journey through Genesis, we reflect on the profound narratives that have shaped the foundation of biblical history. From the creation of the world and the fall of Adam and Eve, to the complex sagas of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, Genesis has offered us a rich tapestry of themes: faith, covenant, trial, and redemption. Next, we'll embark on the book of Exodus, a dramatic shift from patriarchal stories to national destiny. We'll meet Moses, witness the extraordinary deliverance of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery, and experience the momentous giving of the Ten Commandments. Exodus not only continues the story of God's people, but also deepens our understanding of their covenant with God and their identity as a nation. Join us next time as we uncover the trials, triumphs, and transformative events of Exodus. I thank you all for being here. May God bless and keep you, and I can't wait to see you for the next book. Peace and blessings.